You're listening to an audio blog from Ava Mind, the mental health app created to support your well-being every step of the way. Today's reflection is midlife a crisis or something more? Let's dive in. When you hear the words midlife crisis, what comes to mind? A sudden desire for change, a flashy car, a major life decision that feels impulsive or out of character. That's the image many of us grew up with, but it might be time for a new story. As we deepen our understanding of mental and emotional well-being across the lifespan, many psychologists are now seeing what we used to call a midlife crisis as something different, something more transformative. Not a breakdown, but a turning point. Let's explore that a bit more. The phrase midlife crisis was first introduced back in 1965 by psychologist Elliot Jaques. He described it as a time when people, usually in their 40s or 50s, became aware of their mortality and began questioning their life choices. Carl Jung saw something similar, but framed it as a normal part of adult growth, a kind of second adolescence. And developmental psychologist Erik Erikson described this as the middle adulthood stage, where people start reflecting on meaning, purpose, and legacy. In all of these views, this wasn't just a chaotic upheaval. It was a natural point of reflection, a moment to pause, reassess, and perhaps realign with what really matters. These days, some psychologists are even questioning whether midlife crisis is the right term at all. Instead, what many people experience is more of a recalibration, especially in a world that increasingly values fulfillment, purpose, and authenticity. That is this it? Moment might come when kids leave home, or when a job stops feeling meaningful, or when health changes remind us that time is moving. It can feel unsettling, but it can also spark powerful questions. What do I really want? What's next for me? And what's still possible? We're also living longer. 100 years ago, hitting age 60 was a big deal. Now, many people live well into their 80s or 90s. That means the so-called middle of life is happening later, maybe around 55 or even 60. And that extra time gives us more space to grow, shift, and evolve. So if you're wondering whether it's too late to try something new, the answer is not even close. This chapter might just be the beginning of a new one. There's also more room today for people to question the traditional life script. Work and family aren't just obligations anymore. They're increasingly tied to our identity and sense of meaning. And when those things no longer feel fulfilling, we have more freedom and acceptance to make changes. That said, freedom can come with pressure. Pressure to find the right path or to live up to big expectations, especially while juggling kids, careers, aging parents, or financial goals. So if you're feeling that tension, you're not alone. It's a common part of this season of life. The midlife story used to sound different depending on gender. But those old stereotypes, men chasing youth, women shrinking into invisibility, don't reflect the world we live in now. More women are leading, earning, and defining success on their own terms. More men are parenting, caregiving, and exploring emotional growth. Midlife today is a shared space, and a more expansive one. It's not about clinging to who we were, but becoming more fully who we are. So what if we stopped calling it a crisis and started seeing it as emerging maturity? That phrase, emerging maturity, invites us to see this phase with fresh eyes. Not as something to dread, but something to embrace. It's a time to reconnect with our values, to let go of what no longer fits, to choose with more intention, and maybe even more joy. Whether that means picking up a paintbrush again, deepening your relationships, or simply taking better care of yourself, this can be a time of real meaning. The truth is, midlife doesn't look one way. Some people face serious challenges, health, finances, or loss. Others find themselves with more freedom than ever before. Whatever your circumstances, you deserve a compassionate, empowering view of this life stage. So maybe this isn't a crisis at all. Maybe it's a calling to show up for yourself in a new way. If this reflection resonated with you, you can explore more on the Ava Mind app. Download it today for guided support, self-reflection tools, and access to real therapists, all in one place. And if you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who might need it.